Chapter 021. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When dinner time rolled around, it was just the three of them. Mito Uzumaki said, "Yokaide, no more reckless stunts, okay? Just let me know right away. With me around, nobody's gonna mess with you." Kushina nodded enthusiastically. Feng chuckled, "All right, Grandma." Kushina shot him a look. "Call her Grandma Mito." "Okay, Grandma Mito." Mito Uzumaki looked at Yokaide affectionately. Feng had always wondered, what really happened to the Senju and Uzumaki clans? Who was pulling the strings? Mito Uzumaki thought for a moment, then said, "Feng, the other Senju descendants aren't particularly noticeable. The clan as a whole didn't pass down any special bloodline abilities, so they scattered and started their own thing. They don't live together under the Senju name anymore." Feng frowned. The Senju clan just faded away like that. Mito Uzumaki's heart ached, and she nodded. She thought of her grandson, Nawaki Senju. If he hadn't died, he'd be around Feng's age. It was fate, plain and simple. The Senju clan had reached its peak under Hashirama's leadership. After the peak, a fall was inevitable, and with the war, the Senju clan, having produced two Hokage, was naturally fighting on the front lines. Konoha won, but the Senju clan was weakened. The Senju kept dying. Even Nawaki was sent out of the village. It seemed like there was something fishy with Danzo and the other village elders, the ones who inherited the will of the second Hokage. The topic was heavy, so Mito Uzumaki changed the subject, smiling. "Actually, whether it's the Senju or the Uzumaki, there are still some clan members who've married into other families. Young people want to strike out on their own, and it's normal to not want to live with an old lady like me." She looked at Kushina. "I wonder when Kushina's gonna leave her old grandma." "Grandma Mito, I'll always be here for you. I'm not going anywhere." Mito Uzumaki smiled. "Nonsense. The sky rains, and women get married. That's just the way things are, right, Yokaide?" Kushina's face suddenly turned red. "Grandma Mito, stop it." Feng smiled, enjoying Kushina's shyness. He couldn't resist teasing her. "She's right. It's only natural." Mito Uzumaki nodded, satisfied. "Yep. Back when I was a girl, I went to the battlefield on a mission for my family, met Hashirama, and we became a family. Later, we founded Konoha. So, Feng, they say you have to settle down before you can make something of yourself." Mito Uzumaki paused, looking pointedly at Feng. If she could set up Feng and Kushina, and they had a kid, no, 2 or 3 kids, then the Senju and Uzumaki bloodlines could continue. Besides, Feng was too lazy, too unmotivated. Young people are like that. Once they start a family, they'll smarten up. Kushina blushed even more, suddenly shy, and avoided looking at Feng. Mito Uzumaki smiled. Eat up, eat up. No need to rush things. As long as they spend enough time together, it would happen naturally." The next day, the atmosphere in Konoha was different. Masked ninjas were all over the streets, looking for something. According to Mito Uzumaki, they were all umbu, but different from the Root organization that had attacked Feng before. They must have been hunting down Danzo and Root. Meanwhile, Feng was in the Uzumaki's courtyard, watching Mito Uzumaki teach Kushina various sealing techniques, secrets of the Uzumaki clan, including the strength of 100 seal. Feng listened to Mito Uzumaki's explanations. It was just like the knowledge the system dumped into his head, except even more detailed. After all, humans don't make mistakes. Kushina practiced all day and finally saw a glimmer of hope, a nearly invisible dot appearing on her forehead. Mito Uzumaki said, "Pleased, excellent, Kushina. You're a ninjutsu genius. Tsunade didn't pick it up this fast." Kushina looked at Feng happily. She could help him now, instead of always needing to be rescued. But then she turned and stared, stunned. A diamond-shaped mark was clearly visible on Feng's forehead. "This." Mito Uzumaki gasped. "Feng, when did you learn the strength of 100 seal?" Feng scratched his head. "I was just watching you demonstrate, and I kind of got it, so I tried it." "Genius. A true genius." You've got Hashirama's would release bloodline and his talent for ninjutsu. Kushina was also giving Yefeng a sharp look, her eyes shining. She was strong, but Yefeng was stronger, he really could make her dreams come true. Mito Uzumaki sighed. I thought I'd have more time before I needed to teach you the next sealing technique, but you're learning too fast. Next, I'll teach you the Uzumaki clan's secret technique, the 4 symbols sealing jutsu. It's used to seal away powerful enemies or demons, a sealing technique that uses the cycle of the 4 elements to lock away evil. Yefeng was embarrassed. The strength of 100 seal was given to him by the system. Now he was going to learn the 4 symbols sealing jutsu. Wouldn't it be obvious that he didn't know what he was doing? His genius reputation was about to take a hit, he felt a pang of sadness. Ding. Based on your current situation, make a choice. Option 1, study hard, improve daily. Reward, A-rank sealing technique, 4 symbols sealing jutsu. Option 2, go home and sleep, be a couch potato. Reward, A-rank ninjutsu, art of distant sight, telescopic vision. Option 3, reject Mito Uzumaki's teachings, remain a student. Reward, A-rank sealing technique, 4 symbols sealing jutsu, S-rank advanced sealing technique, Reaper Death Seal. Chapter 022. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Grandma Mito, you can teach Kushina. I'm gonna chill for a bit. With that, Yefeng hopped into a tree nearby. Mito Uzumaki stated firmly, Yokaid, don't get all cocky. There's always something new to learn. Alright, Grandma Mito, I'll just watch from the sidelines. Kushina scoffed, yeah right. Grandma Mito, I bet he can't learn just by watching. Mito glanced at Yokaid, thinking he could use a little humbling. Arrogance gets you nowhere, besides, Kushina's got plenty of talent too. Let Kushina give Yokaid a run for his money for a while. With that thought, Mito ignored Yokaid, turned her attention to Kushina, and began teaching her. Yefeng was stoked, checking out the system rewards, the A-rank sealing technique, for symbol seal, and the S-rank advanced sealing technique, Reaper Death Seal. During the Chunin exams, the 3rd Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi used the Reaper Death Seal to seal Orochimaru's arms. During the Ninetales attack, Minato Namikaze used the Reaper Death Seal to seal away half of the Ninetales chakra. Now that he'd learned the 4 symbols seal and the Reaper Death Seal, and with his Hashirama Senju character card at 100% fusion, could he seal the entire Ninetales? He opened his stats panel. Name, Yefeng. Strength, Quasi-Kage. Rank, Shinobi. Character card, SSS rank Hashirama Senju, fusion 25.01%. Kekkei Genkai, God tier would release, from character card. Ninjutsu, Flying Thunder God Technique LV3, Impure World Reincarnation LV3, Lightning Blade LV3, Omorioka LV3. In Seal LV1, for Symbols Seal LV1, Reaper Death Seal LV1, Yefeng saw his fusion was at 25%, and his strength had finally reached the Quasi-Kage level. Previously, his strength was probably around the level of a Konoha Jonin, but he was still classified as an elite Jonin. The whole power scaling in Naruto was pretty weird. The legendary Sannin were elite Jonin, and Konohamaru was also an elite Jonin when he grew up. Go figure. And so, Yefeng quietly watched Mito Uzumaki teach Kushina, staying put in the Uzumaki compound behind closed doors. Mito had warned him that things in Konoha were tense lately, so he shouldn't wander off. But a few days later, Yefeng didn't leave, but they had a visitor. Ma'am, someone's here looking for Kushina. Kushina looked surprised. Who is it? It's Mikoto Uchiha. Mito Uzumaki smiled. Oh, it's Mikoto. Bring her in. Kushina, take a breather. The 4 symbols seal is a tough one, so don't sweat it. Kushina wiped the sweat from her brow and nodded. I'll leave you young folks to your party, Mito said as she left. A moment later, Mikoto Uchiha walked in. The 2 girlfriends greeted each other with a hug. Then, Mikoto Uchiha looked around curiously. Where's Yefeng? I heard he's been living here. Kushina looked above Mikoto Uchiha and said, right behind you. Behind me. Mikoto Uchiha turned around, saw a tree, and looked up. What are you doing up there? Yefeng grinned. Just chilling. Weirdo. Mikoto Uchiha scoffed, ignored Yokaide, pulled Kushina aside, and started whispering. Yefeng's ears perked up. He couldn't help but overhear. At Quasi-Kage level, it wasn't like he meant to eavesdrop. It was just that the girls were talking loud. So, Kushina, I heard you're gonna marry Yefeng, right? Well, not quite yet. Not yet, huh? Things are moving fast. When are you gonna hand out the wedding candy? Kushina glanced shyly at Yefeng in the tree and said, stop talking nonsense. Then, Kushina whispered to Mikoto Uchiha, he's right there. But seriously, he's so hot. Didn't you see him use the wood release that day and wipe out all those jonin who attacked us? Hee, Kushina, I heard you fainted then. How do you know? Did you just pretend to faint? Kushina suddenly blushed. No, I really fainted, but I woke up soon after. I wasn't out for long. Yefeng chuckled to himself. His Quasi-Kage senses didn't lie. Kushina had been hit with an illusion, fainted in his arms, and never woke up from the beginning of the battle to the end. Now she was bragging to her girlfriend, bragging, a universal human trait. The two chatted for a bit, and Mikoto Uchiha said, Kushina, guess what? The investigation results on Danzo and Root are out. Hokage has ordered the disbanding of Root, Danzo's removal from his position, and both advisors are on leave. Chapter 023. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yifeng's ears perked up. He hadn't expected Ape Flying Sun Chopping to go so hard and actually disband the Root organization and Mito Menyen and Koharu being forced into retirement. He was genuinely surprised the third Hokage had that kind of guts. Then again, the third was only 50, not the nearly 70 he was in the anime, so Danzo tried to get to him, but ended up taking himself out. Feng knew Danzo was only laying low for a while. There was no way Konoha's darkness would just crumble like that. Kushina looked surprised. Really? Uchiha Mikoto whispered in Kushina's ear, Fugaku told me all this. Kushina grinned. Mikoto, are you and Fugaku a thing? My parents think so, but I'm still young. Getting married without being in love. Kushina, you've got it good. Mikoto sighed. Kushina immediately grabbed Mikoto's hand. Mikoto, if you don't like it, don't force yourself to do something you don't want to do. Kushina, it's not that simple. Fugaku's being groomed to be the next head of the family. Anyway, tomorrow's my birthday. Can you come? Kushina nodded eagerly. Mikoto, of course I'll come to your birthday party. Right, Yifeng, ding, based on your current situation, here's a choice. Option 1, decline Mikoto's invitation, stay home and be a couch potato. Reward, Make Out Paradise First Edition. Option 2, accept Mikoto's invitation and attend her birthday party with Kushina. Reward, Forbidden Technique, Harem Technique. System, you're playing games, Harem Technique. Are you trying to tell me something? This is a tough one. After a moment, Kushina grabbed Yifeng's arm and said, Mikoto, we'll definitely be there tomorrow. In the end, Yifeng chose ninjutsu. There was no way he could accept something as cheesy as Make Out Paradise. Maybe he'd discuss it with Jiraiya later. Ding, congratulations. You have obtained a forbidden technique, Harem Technique. Harem Technique, a combination ninjutsu of multiple shadow clones plus transformation. This was Naruto's signature move. With the knowledge of the Harem Technique flooding his mind, Yifeng immediately grasped everything. Learning the Harem Technique was like learning A-rank ninjutsu multiple shadow clone technique and C-rank ninjutsu transformation technique. It was essentially a packaged combo. The realism of the Harem Technique depended on the caster's imagination and to imagine. Realistically, the caster needed, inspiration. Naruto, who was dead last in his class and kissed Sasuke early on, managed to defeat multiple enemies with the Harem Technique, and even Kaguya was caught off guard. He clearly had a lot of inspiration. So, young Naruto was clearly a bit of a perv, and now that this harem technique was in his hands, was he going to have to carry on that tradition? He hadn't exactly asked for such a weird spell. Soon after Uchiha Mikoto left, Kushina dragged Yi Feng to tell Uzumaki Mito about going to Uchiha Mikoto's birthday party tomorrow. Actually, Yi Feng already sensed that something was up. Kushina, bless her heart, hadn't quite figured out the implications and had agreed without thinking. The Uchiha clan was inviting people from the Uzumaki family to the Uchiha compound, and Yi Feng, who was seen as the last heir of the Senju clan, was going along, too, in the eyes of the other families in Konoha. This was a big deal. Did it mean anything? It would probably make the heads of the various clans start overthinking everything. Were the Senju clan looking to team up with the Uchiha clan? Everyone remembered the golden age when Konoha was founded. Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha, a pair of legendary figures. Uzumaki Mito sighed when she heard Kushina say she was going to Uchiha's house for Uchiha Mikoto's birthday party, and then nodded. Go, Yi Feng, you go too. I don't want Kushina going alone. Yes, Grandma Mito. Yi Feng was surprised. Uzumaki Mito actually agreed, and didn't say anything else. Actually, Uzumaki Mito had already thought a lot about it. Back in the day, the Senju clan tried to avoid suspicion. They not only had a tense relationship with the Uchiha family but also deliberately encouraged many ordinary clansmen to strike out on their own and spread out. As a result, the Senju bloodline was becoming scarcer day by day. War and conspiracy had claimed the lives of the last male members of the Senju family. After this recent rude attack on Yi Feng, Uzumaki Mito had made up her mind. The other families in Konoha were afraid of the Uchiha clan, but weren't they just as afraid of the Senju clan? The Uchiha were certainly terrifying, but Hashirama, who defeated Madara, was even more so. Taking a step back wouldn't help, it would just make them a target. It was better to unite with the Uchiha clan and reclaim the authority of the Hokage. Uzumaki Mito had seen enough in the last few days to know that Yi Feng had the strength. He had taken out 10 root members alone with ease. Even if he wasn't as good as Hiruzen, he was still a top 10 ninja in Konoha, and Kushina had the potential to be a great partner. So, Uzumaki Mito only said one thing in the end: go early and come back early. Chapter 024. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Feng and Kushina were just stepping out when she tugged him back. What's up? He asked. We need to grab a gift for Mikoto. Can't show up at the Uchiha's tomorrow empty-handed, right? Yi Feng groaned internally. Tagging along for shopping? That sounded like torture. What's a guy's worst nightmare? Shopping, duh. But Kushina was stoked. She hadn't been out in ages. Mikoto had mentioned earlier that those higher-ups giving everyone grief had been dealt with. No more worries there. Grandma Mito had also given the all-clear, so, whether Yi Feng liked it or not, Kushina dragged him along. As they walked down the street, they bumped into a familiar group. Leading the pack was Danzo. And beside him were Konoha's White Fang, Tsukumo Hatake, and Minato Namikaze. Danzo saw Yi Feng, gave him a quick once-over, and then looked away, expressionless. Just as they were about to pass by, Yi Feng grabbed Minato. Hey, what's going on? Minato gave him a side-eye. Classified mission. Can't say. You serious? Totally. The Hokage's watching. Yi Feng glanced around. He didn't see the crow this time, but he definitely felt like someone was spying. That peeping old man. Yi Feng reluctantly let Minato go. As Minato rejoined the group, Tsukumo asked, you know him pretty well, huh? Yeah, we're rivals. He's strong. Minato nodded enthusiastically. Totally. I was planning on challenging him again this week to settle things once and for all, but this mission came up. You're no match for him. Minato sighed. Hey, lay off, will ya? Tsukumo shook his head. Not trying to bust your chops. I just think he might be stronger than even me. Minato's eyes widened in disbelief. Kushina, curious, asked, where are they headed? Watergate won't spill. Super secretive. Maybe we should follow them, Kushina scoffed. Nah, nothing interesting there. Let's go. We still gotta order that cake and get the gift. Ugh, more shopping. Yefeng's protests were ignored. Kushina dragged him to half the cake shops in Konoha before finally placing an order. The currency in this world is called Ryo, with both bills and coins, all using Ryo as the base unit. Mission payouts range from 5,000 to 50,000 Ryo for D-rank missions, 30,000 to 100,000 Ryo for C-rank, 80,000 to 200,000 Ryo for B-rank, and 150,000 to a million Ryo for A-rank. S-rank missions pay out over a million Ryo a pop. 1 Ryo equals 10 yen. A pork cutlet set is roughly 800 yen for a regular meal, or over 1,000 yen with extra toppings. A fashion magazine costs around 600 yen. 3 pieces of Odin go for 500 yen, and this cake Kushina just bought cost 10,000 yen, or 1,000 Ryo. Then she grabbed a pair of earrings for another 38,888 yen, total, nearly 50,000 yen, 5,000 Ryo. That's the starting payout for a D-rank mission. This girl was loaded. Yefeng, on the other hand, was carrying only 1,000 Ryo. It was the basic salary for a month, recently issued by the finance ministry. If he needed more, he had to take on a mission. A penny saved is a penny earned. To scrape together money for clam rice, Momochi Zabuza of the Hidden Mist had to take dirty jobs, even without his Kubikurabocho. Good thing Yefeng was crashing at the Uzumaki's, otherwise, he'd probably be hitting up missions too. The next day at noon, Yefeng approached the Uchiha compound, also the headquarters of the Konoha military police force. The Uchiha clan, one of Konoha's 2 prominent clans with a bloodline limit, had led the military police since the village's founding. Back in the day, the Senju clan had been up there with them, one of the 3 major bloodline clans, but 20 years had passed. Senju clan members died in battle, leaving only Tsunade as a self-supporting descendant. With the Senju dwindling and the Hyuga remaining secluded, the Uchiha naturally considered themselves Konoha's top dogs. Most of the current Uchiha clan members acted like they were hot stuff, rarely interacting with outsiders. Of course, they weren't about to look down on Yefeng today. After all, Yefeng was the last heir of the Senju clan. In less than a week, he'd busted up Yunnan Village's scheme and taken down those old cronies Danzo, Hamura, and Koharu. He was riding a major wave of popularity. Unlike anything else, you could argue that Yefeng's status was comparable to the current head of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shuna. In terms of strength, Yefeng had awakened the Senju clan's bloodline limit and single-handedly defeated 10 members of Root. That was stronger than anyone in the Uchiha clan. So, today, the younger generation of Uchiha talent, Fugaku and Mikoto, were waiting for Yefeng at the gate. Yefeng and Kushina arrived on time with the cake and gifts. Seeing Mikoto, they hurried over to greet her. "Mikoto, happy birthday. We got you a cake and a little something. Didn't have a ton of time, so it's nothing fancy." "Kushina, thank you. So glad you could make it. What a gorgeous cake. And these earrings are beautiful." Mikoto immediately took out the earrings and put them on. "Kushina, how do they look?" Kushina turned to Yefeng. "Yefeng, what do you think?" Seriously. A set-up question. "I'm blind, so I have no idea." Mikoto and Kushina both huffed. Ding, Kushina's favorability increased by +5. Ding, Mikoto Uchiha's favorability increased by +10. System, what are you doing? I didn't even say anything, and Mikoto's favorability jumps up by 10 again. Chapter 025. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yokaid and Kushina showed up at Mikoto Uchiha's birthday bash, and suddenly every big family in Konoha was buzzing about it. What's the Uchiha clan up to? What do the Senju and Uzumaki clans think about this? Everyone was watching, speculating, and trying to read between the lines. "I'll take the first sip," said Mikoto Uchiha's father, a prominent Uchiha, raising his glass. "Thank you both for celebrating with my daughter." His wife, Mikoto's mother, stood gracefully by his side. Everyone raised their glasses, echoed the sentiment, and drained their drinks. Besides Mikoto and her parents, Yokaid, and Kushina, Fugaku Uchiha, a rising star in the clan, was also present. Looks like the Uchiha clan is thinking about setting up Mikoto and Fugaku. Fugaku, already a captain in the guard at a young age, is slated to take over as head of the family soon. Mikoto's parents excused themselves. Yokaide managed to introduce Liar's Dice, putting an end to the painfully dull drinking party. Before long, everyone was hooked. Dice required a mix of skill, the nerve to bluff, sharp observation, and clever strategies. Even a straight-laced ninja like Fugaku found it surprisingly fun. So exhilarating. 6 sixes. 12 sixes. Gonna call you out. The atmosphere grew lively, faces flushed. Fugaku even struck up a conversation with Yokaide. Yokaide-kun, you mentioned that there were Uchiha members among Danzo's root operatives. Yokaide nodded. Yeah, I saw the Sharingan. What's up? Fugaku replied softly, we're fortunate you told us, Yokaide-kun, or we might still be in the dark. Huh? It's no secret. No one from our Uchiha clan has joined Root. Even in the Umbu, there are only 1 or 2, and it's all documented. Yokaide's curiosity was piqued. You mean? Fugaku looked at Yokaide. That person isn't one of us. Interesting. Fugaku nodded, then announced his role, 12 threes. Mikoto suddenly grinned. Call. Double call. Turns out there were only 5 threes, Fugaku had 5 himself. Everyone else was bluffing. Fugaku chuckled, took his penalty drink, shook the dice, and said, yeah, it's way more fun than what's really going on. Our clan head is currently negotiating with the 3rd Hokage about a monster created from Uchiha blood. Rumor has it, it's the only surviving experimental subject, hidden away in Root. If you hadn't discovered it, Yokaide-kun, we'd never have known. It's a disgrace to the Uchiha name. Thank you, Yokaide-kun, for eliminating this abomination for our clan. Yokaide's eyes widened. This was news to him. Uchiha clones. He immediately thought of Yamato, the test subject infused with 1st Hokage cells, so, the Sharingan user he killed wasn't just a random experiment, but something connected to Madara. There were so many layers to the Naruto story that weren't explicitly spelled out. Even with a general grasp of the history, he was still missing key pieces. This Uchiha experiment, for instance, might have remained buried forever if he hadn't stumbled upon it. Fugaku's thanks were a way for the Uchiha clan to express their goodwill. Despite their current prominence, the clan elders probably understood that decline was inevitable. Having an ally like Yokaide could be invaluable. After a few more rounds, Fugaku grew increasingly talkative. Whether he was faking it or genuinely drunk, he even started spilling secrets about Root and Danzo's fate. That Uchiha experimental body was secretly bankrolled by Orochimaru using Danzo's money. Now, all of Orochimaru's experiments have been shut down. And because Danzo did something so outrageous, he's being sent to the Cloud Village as an undercover agent to redeem himself. He won't be back unless he achieves something truly extraordinary. A smile spread across Fugaku's face, then he slumped over. Yokaide saw he was genuinely plastered, no wonder he was blabbing. This was supposed to be confidential. Come on, drink. Kushina was flushed and radiant. Mikoto latched onto Yokaide's leg. Drink. Drink this. Chapter 026. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Feng, caught between laughing and crying, quickly pulled the 2 women apart. Drink up. Joshinai still clutched her cup. Yi Feng just took it from her. The hell with that, I want to drink. No more for you. Let's get you home. Yokaide scooped up Kushina, took a few steps, then spun around and kicked Uchiha Fugaku, who was dead drunk and trying to paw at Uchiha Mikoto. Still trying to pull something while you're wasted? Yi Feng glanced at the half-awake and half-drunk Uchiha Mikoto, shook his head, and steered them away. Uchiha Fugaku was left sprawled on the ground, hugging empty air. They barely stepped outside when they bumped into Mikoto, Uchiha's father, so Mikoto was safely handed off. Then, Yi Feng, with Joshinai in his arms, left Uchiha territory. Under the moonlight, Joshinai mumbled, half-conscious, Yi Feng, 5, 6. Yi Feng rolled his eyes. It looked like another gambling addict was about to be born. In Konoha, the most famous gambling addict was, of course, the one and only Tsunade. "Hey, Jiraiya, wanna hit the hot springs?" Just then, a boisterous woman's voice rang out from ahead. Feng followed the sound and was taken aback. Wasn't that Tsunade? And the white-haired guy next to her, Jiraiya? Even though Yorikide had never actually met Tsunade and Jiraiya, he recognized them instantly, mostly because of Jiraiya's ridiculously conspicuous white hair. Jiraiya, trying to look serious, said, "Nah, we need to report to the Hokage first. Quit stalling. Come on. A good soak will loosen you up. I heard this place is super popular with the ladies, and they just switched to co-ed bathing." The second Jiraiya heard co-ed bathing, he was already heading for the hot springs. "Oh, a guy needs to relax once in a while. Let's go." "Huh, you weren't saying that a second ago." Tsunade grinned mischievously and turned her head, her eyes landing on Yorikide. "That's Kushina. That's so late," and Kushina looked completely hammered. Was this guy trying to take advantage of her? He was asking for a beatdown. "You scumbag. Messing with Kushina like this? You've got a death wish." Golden chakra blazed around Tsunade as she charged at Yorikide. Huh, Yorikide was totally confused. What was Tsunade's problem? Wood style, wooden dome wall. Before Tsunade's fist could land, a row of wooden pillars erupted from the ground, curving into arches that formed a barrier in front of Yorikide. Bang! The ground shook. Tsunade's fist, crackling with chakra, smashed right through the wooden wall. Back in the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hinata was waiting for Tsunade and Jiraiya to return and report, but when he heard the explosion, he shot to his feet. What's going on now? Konoha hasn't been peaceful lately. Sarutobi Hinata grabbed his cloak, leaped out the window, and raced across the rooftops toward the source of the noise. Jiraiya, who was close to the incident, had just stepped into the pond and was startled by the sudden noise. He turned back, but where was Tsunade? Jiraiya ran out, only to see Tsunade locked in combat with a young man. Countless thick roots erupted from the young man's side, blocking Tsunade's attacks. A shadow clone. There was another young man behind him, still holding a red-haired girl. That's Kushina, and with style, that he knew immediately that the young man was Feng, the one everyone was talking about these days. Kunai and shuriken flew everywhere. Boom. Some even came his way. He also heard Tsunade yelling, "Hey, you little punk, turn Kushina loose. The Senju clan never produced a scumbag like Jiraiya, but you're setting a new standard. What the heck, why are you dragging me into this?" Jiraiya got nicked by a kunai. Still, even as Jiraiya watched Yorikide using various ninjutsu to fend off Tsunade's attacks while still holding Kushina, he found the strength to argue with Tsunade. Hey, are you calling me a scumbag? If you don't back off, I'm gonna have to get serious." "Oh, so you think I don't get serious, ah? Come on, let me see how you get serious." Tsunade, without another word, punched through the shadow clone and instantly appeared in front of Feng, but before she could strike, countless vine-like saplings wrapped around Tsunade's feet, then her entire body, and grew into a massive tree, completely pinning her. Wood style, tree binding eternal burial. Tsunade's eyes widened in shock. Bang! Another substitute jutsu. Tsunade reappeared behind Yorikide. Not bad. But before Tsunade could land a kick, Yorikide vanished again, reappearing next to Jiraiya. What an insanely fast body flicker technique. Jiraiya's eyes bugged out. Flying Thunder God technique. Did the Hokage teach him that? Tsunade looked surprised too. This kid was something else. He had the wood style of the first Hokage and the body flicker technique of the second. Feng didn't attack again, because someone else had arrived. He looked up to see a beam of golden light descending from the sky. Bang! A Vajra staff slammed into the ground, and a figure dropped down. The third Hokage, Ape Flying Sun Slash, had arrived. Sensei! 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 Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. Orochimaru, the third Hokage and the legendary Sannin of Konoha had gathered in front of the hot spring. Chapter 027. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What a character. Yefeng's voice broke the silence. Sarutobi shot him a cold look. Jiraiya, Tsunade, what's going on here? Tsunade's eyes flicked to Yefeng, and she pointed a finger. Teacher, this creep was trying to take advantage of Kushina while she was drunk. Good thing I caught him in time, or Kushina would have been in real trouble. Yefeng was at a loss for words. Suddenly, thick vines erupted from the ground, binding him as Tsunade continued her accusations. Sarutobi looked at Yefeng. Yefeng, what's the real story? Kushina was wasted. Was I just supposed to let her pass out? Tsunade, did you even bother to ask what happened? Tsunade just shrugged. Need I? Seeing is believing, right? Ding, based on the current situation, you have 3 options. Option 1, forgive Tsunade. Accept her scolding. Reward, a worn-out shuriken. Option 2, forgive Tsunade. Drop your defenses. Reward, C-rank ninjutsu, fire style, phoenix flower jutsu. Option 3, go off on Tsunade. Teach her a lesson. Reward, S-rank ninjutsu, creation rebirth. Yefeng already had a headache dealing with these situations. Now the system's choices were making things even worse. With the timing down to a science, Yefeng scoffed. She's really got nothing between the ears. Tsunade's eyes went wide as she glared at him. Everyone else looked shocked, too. What did you just say? Tsunade couldn't believe Yefeng dared to talk back to her like that. Is your brain not working? I'm saying you're all boobs and no brains. Seeing is believing. So, I should have just left her on the ground to drag herself home. Is there something wrong with your eyes, or your brain? If you're gonna be clueless, at least keep quiet, you know. All brawn and no brains. Yefeng's verbal onslaught left everyone stunned. Tsunade was about to blow a fuse. You're asking for it. Just as Tsunade was about to explode, Yefeng vanished, reappearing 100 yards away. He'd set a flying thunder god seal there a while ago, making the teleport instantaneous. Now it was Orochimaru and Sarutobi's turn to be wide-eyed. That's the flying thunder god technique. Jiraiya looked confused. Teacher, didn't you teach it to him? Sarutobi shook his head. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed. If you didn't teach it to him, then he becomes very suspicious. Sarutobi scoffed. Orochimaru, get those thoughts out of your head. There's nothing suspicious about the flying thunder god technique itself. It definitely wasn't taught to him by someone from another village. Stop obsessing over him. There's no point. Take a few days off, then you're going out on a mission. Orochimaru yawned. Understood, sensei, but in his head, Orochimaru thought missions can't compare to how interesting Yefeng is. There will definitely be a chance. Yikid put Kushina down gently. Huh, a voice suddenly came from behind him, and Yefeng's blood ran cold, making the hair stand up on the back of his neck. Jiraiya shouted. Watch out, the seal on Tsunade's forehead was unlocking, lines appearing on her face. The lines met on her forehead, passing vertically through her eyes, to her chin, creation rebirth. All the chakra from her strength of 100 seal was unleashed, bathing her in golden light. Driven mad by Yefeng's words, Tsunade had finally lost it. She appeared behind Yefeng and Kushina, reaching for Yefeng's head with a single hand. Snap, star. Yefeng's head split open. This guy is too weak. Just as Tsunade was about to pull back her hand, she realized she was only holding a piece of wood, and the Kushina at her feet had also been replaced with a log. Yefeng was 10 yards away, holding the real Kushina. A thick wooden dragon erupted from the ground beneath Tsunade. Sarutobi sighed. Wood dragon jutsu. I haven't seen that in a while. Didn't expect to see it here. He was deeply impressed by the wood dragon jutsu. This giant wooden dragon was used during the first Hokage's era to subdue the Nine-Tails, wrapping around its body and absorbing its chakra. It was said that when entangled, even the Nine-Tails would scream. The first Hokage used it to suppress the Nine-Tails' rampage. The move had clearly left a strong impression on Sarutobi. Of course, this wooden dragon was much smaller. "You're dead." Tsunade smashed a punch into the wooden dragon, surprised to find it was absorbing her chakra. With that, the wood dragon bound Tsunade completely. "Humph, you think this can hold me?" Tsunade confidently unleashed even more chakra. The wood dragon jutsu was a famous technique used by Tsunade's grandfather, Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. Tsunade knew the easiest way to break the wood dragon jutsu was to overpower it with chakra. "If you want to absorb my chakra, I'll give you all you can handle." Chapter 028. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sarutobi finally understood Tsunade's plan. He wasn't going to stop her either. As Hokage, it wasn't his place to interfere directly, but Tsunade was the perfect person for the job. Besides, she was Uzumaki Mito's granddaughter. If Yi Feng really messed up, Mito wouldn't blame him. Lately, Yi Feng had been getting a little too big for his britches. Awakening the wood-release Kekii Genkai of the Senju clan was impressive, no doubt, but then he went and killed 10 root members, forcing Sarutobi to punish his old friend Danzo. It was time Yi Feng learned he wasn't the only powerful person in the world. But as Tsunade's chakra surged, Yi Feng's eyes lit up. He could feel a massive amount of chakra flowing through the wooden dragon, into the ground, and then back into him. Finally, the chakra traveled up through his feet and straight to the Yin seal of the heavenly gate. "Is she charging me up?" The Yin seal on Yi Feng's forehead glowed brightly, though it was hidden by his Konoha headband. Tsunade remained confident, but her expression soon changed. The Yin seal chakra she'd been storing for over 2 years was already more than half gone, and this guy didn't even flinch. Something was definitely wrong. Sarutobi's face also changed, and he quickly called out, "Yi Feng, don't push yourself too hard. You'll hurt yourself." Yi Feng grinned. "Don't worry, Lord Third. I'm not pushing it. I just want to see what gives her the confidence to act without knowing the whole story. Even if Grandma Mito showed up today, I'd set her straight." Hearing Yi Feng's voice, Kushina's long eyelashes fluttered. She opened her eyes slightly, saw the figures, rubbed her eyes, and exclaimed, "Ah, Lord Third. Is that Tsunade?" The cold air sobered Kushina up, and when she realized Yi Feng and Tsunade were fighting, she became anxious, tears welling up in her eyes. "Yi Feng, what's going on?" Tsunade scoffed. "Kushina, you're finally awake. This guy was trying to take advantage of your drunkenness and squeeze you dry." Kushina immediately shook her head. "You must be mistaken, Tsunade. Yi Feng would never do that." Tsunade wanted to scream. "Whose side are you on?" Yi Feng chuckled. "Did you hear that, Tsunade? You see what you want to see. You're blind." Kushina glared at Yi Feng. "Yi Feng, don't talk to Tsunade like that. She didn't say anything, she just came at me guns blazing. And then she said she would do whatever she wanted to me, and that is fine if it ruins my reputation. But I should not ruin your reputation. This woman doesn't have a brain, she has boobs." Tsunade was furious and unleashed her maximum chakra, but the chakra vanished as if it were being poured into a bottomless pit. Tsunade was now sweating profusely, realizing she'd bitten off more than she could chew. Sarutobi, seeing Tsunade struggling, intervened. "Yi Feng, that's enough. Let's all take a step back." Yi Feng ignored Sarutobi, instead using the wooden dragon to pin Tsunade's hands. Another thick vine rose up and smacked Tsunade's butt. Smack, the sound echoed in the silence. Everyone stared at Yi Feng, dumbfounded. Yi Feng said calmly, "If I don't teach her a lesson now, she'll cause trouble later and ruin Konoha's reputation, the Senju's reputation, and Lord Third's reputation." Ding. Congratulations to the host for completing Choice 3, chose the Mad Tsunade, educate the Tsunade. Well, and obtain S-level ninjutsu, the art of 100 heroes. Yi Feng was pleased. Tsunade's face was crimson. She broke free of the wooden dragon with the power of the strength of 100 seal. You're gonna pay. Golden chakra condensed around Tsunade's feet, and she transformed into a blur, aiming a kick at Feng. Physical technique, pain in the feet, A direct hit would be catastrophic. Tsunade was beyond reason, desperate to vent her rage. No. Kushina rushed in front of Feng. Tsunade's face paled. She couldn't take the kick back. Kushina, get out of the way. The third Hokage and Jiraiya also reacted, dashing forward, but Feng moved faster, instantly forming three hand signs. Tsunade suddenly noticed black markings appear on Feng's face, running from his eyes and meeting on his forehead and chin. The strength of 100 seal. 0.3 thick wooden dragons appeared around Tsunade, encircling her in layers. Thud. Tsunade's vision blurred, and she crashed heavily into the ground. As she lay there, stunned, she wondered if she had actually gone blind. Chapter 029. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ape Flying Sun Chopper and Zilai were surprised. Feng didn't seem to need rescuing at all. Was this all an act? Ape Fei re-squinted, wondering if Feng had become that stronger than Tsunade. Or was he putting on a show? Orochimaru, watching from the sidelines, was even more shocked. Feng's current power far surpassed what he displayed during Orochimaru's recruitment attempt a week ago. Now, Maple was incredibly powerful. Orochimaru even suspected that even his own teacher couldn't suppress Tsunade so easily, as Tsunade was currently pinned to the ground, unable to move. Suddenly, Uzumaki Mito appeared. Ape Fei, what's going on? Then, she saw Tsunade bound on the ground, and her eyes widened. Feng, let Tsunade go. What's gotten into you? With Uzumaki Mito's arrival, Yokai deactivated the 100 Heroes technique. This technique is similar to an enhancement ninjutsu. Opening it fully unlocks the Yin seal, allowing free use of the large amount of chakra stored within, making large-scale ninjutsu and forbidden arts possible because chakra is infused throughout the entire body. The strength of physical skills and strange powers is also increased. With the 100 Heroes technique deactivated, the wood dragon art weakened, and Tsunade shattered the wooden dragon, glaring at Feng. You little punk, I'm going to kill you. Was she actually disciplined by someone under 20? Ahem. Tsunade, knock it off, Ape Flying Sun Chopper said, speechless. Why are you messing with Feng? Uzumaki Mito simply said, go back. Jyoshina glanced at Yokai but still went to Tsunade. Tsunade glared at Jyoshina. Humph, Jyoshina, you're taking his side, defending an outsider. Uzumaki Mito glared at Tsunade. Enough. Get back here. Sarutobi coughed. Tsunade, you need to go to the office with Jiraiya first. Fine. Tsunade huffed and followed Ape Flying Sun, still glaring at Yoritobi. Halfway there, Jiraiya couldn't help but ask, Tsunade, is that Night Maple? Ugh. Tsunade roared and punched Jiraiya in the face. Bang. Zilai flew backward. Boom. The house in front of him collapsed, and several ninjas went flying. Enemy attack. Sarutobi glared at Tsunade, then went over. It's okay, it's okay. Ah, Lord Hokage. It's you. Lady Tsunade. Lord Orochimaru. The ninjas bowed respectfully when they saw Ape Flying Sunday. Sarutobi asked, concerned, are you all right? We're fine. Just startled. A groan came from under the collapsed bricks. Ugh. Zilai covered his face, climbing out. The ninjas looked at him strangely. Ape Fei pulled out a wad of cash. Here. Stay in a hotel tonight, and I'll have someone repair this in the morning. It's all right, Lord Hokage, we're not in a rush. Take it. Yes, Lord Hokage. Turning to Tsunade, Hokage said coldly, repairs will be at least 50,000 taels. Remember to pay in advance. Tsunade scoffed. No way. Meanwhile, Yokai and Jyoshina followed Uzumaki Mito back. Couldn't you have just cut Tsunade some slack? Jyoshina glared at Feng. Feng shrugged. He wanted to, but the system wouldn't let him. See what happened. Go apologize to Tsunade later. Feng ignored her. Apologize? Tsunade started it. Teaching her a lesson is normal, right? Shinai, seeing that Feng wouldn't budge, reached out to pinch him, but found she couldn't. He was so tough. Uzumaki Mito sighed. Kid, how did you two even start fighting? That Feng explained everything. Shinai immediately blamed herself. I drank too much. If I hadn't been drunk, I wouldn't have done that. Uzumaki Mito shook her head. It's not your fault. Tsunade can be a real handful. Then, Uzumaki Mito looked at Kid. Feng, when did you learn the Yin seal and the 100-how technique? Shinai's eyes widened. What? Feng, when did you learn the Yin seal? That she was a little confused and hadn't seen it clearly, but when Uzumaki Mito appeared, she saw that Kid had already used the 100-how technique to unlock the Yin seal. Uzumaki Mito had been surprised at the time but had kept quiet about it. Chapter 030. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feng scratched his head. Grandma Mito taught Shinai, but I picked it up too. What? Shinai's eyes practically bugged out. Grandma Mito taught me, but you, Mr. Couch Potato, learned it when I didn't? Shinai suddenly felt betrayed. Uzumaki Mito was equally stunned, her face showing surprise. This kind of comprehension. It's gotta be better than Tobirama's, right? Is the Senju clan about to produce a prodigy? But you can't go around hitting Tsunade with vines. Using vines on Tsunade? That's just messed up. Feng ignored her, returned to the little courtyard, and immediately hopped in the shower. While washing, he remembered the hot spring they had just been at, the most famous hot spring joint in Konoha. Come to think of it, he hadn't hit the baths yet, maybe he should check it out. Feng raced back to his room after his shower, then the door burst open. Come on in. Shinai's hair was damp, carrying a light, sweet scent. Her skin was flushed, tiny droplets clinging to it, like she had just stepped out of a bath herself. Feng was confused. What's Shinai doing here this late? Shinai's face turned slightly pink. Feng, aren't you going to apologize to Tsunade? She asked softly. Seeing Shinai's pleading look, Feng's heart softened. Okay, fine. It's just an apology. Ding, based on the current environment, 3 choices are available. Option 1, apologize to Tsunade, admit your mistake. Reward, a broken shuriken. Option 2, forgive Tsunade, saying you aren't mad at all. Reward, A-rank ninjutsu, shuriken shadow clone jutsu. Option 3, get Tsunade mad, teach Tsunade a lesson. Reward, A-rank ninjutsu, all-direction shuriken. Wow, system. You read my mind. Feng coughed. Look, I think I'm in the right, but I've already forgiven Tsunade. I'm not angry at all, as long as she doesn't start anything with me again. Shinai glared at Feng. Feng, are you trying to apologize? I'm right. Why should I apologize? Shinai stomped her foot, frustrated. Suddenly, the door flew open. Feng and Shinai were both dumbstruck. Tsunade, standing in the doorway, was equally speechless. She pointed at Feng. You! What are you doing in my room? Shinai blushed and quickly waved her hands. Tsunade, we weren't doing anything. It's like this, Feng wants to apologize to you. Feng was a little disoriented. He had slept in Tsunade's room. No wonder it smelled so nice. Apologize? Tsunade glared at Feng. Tsunade, I've already forgiven you. I'm not mad about what happened today, as long as you don't mess with me again. Hey, don't blame me. The system made me do it. If I don't push back, you'll walk all over me. Congratulations to the host for completing choice 2, forgive Tsunade, stating that he is not angry at all. Reward, A-rank ninjutsu, shuriken shadow clone jutsu. Tsunade smiled, but it was all anger. Heh, you little punk. Come on out here. I don't want to wreck the place. Let's go to the training grounds, shall we? Just then, Uzumaki Mito arrived. Uzumaki Mito glanced at Tsunade. You haven't been back for almost 2 years. You gonna start a fight the moment you show up? Joshinai was frantic, looking at Yefeng. Yefeng shrugged. I told her I forgave her. Uzumaki Mito knew that Yefeng responded better to kindness than force. She sighed. Okay, Tsunade, don't cause trouble. Yefeng, you too. She's your sister, just let it go. Tsunade was livid. I don't need him to let me off the hook, that she had lost so badly in front of everyone that day. And now he's squatting in her room. Her own grandma's siding with the outsider. Tsunade was furious, her chakra flaring. Joshinai blurted out, Tsunade, why don't you arm wrestle Yefeng? Yefeng, arm wrestle Tsunade. If you lose, will you apologize to her? Kushina knew that Tsunade's strength was legendary. In Konoha, no one could beat Tsunade in arm wrestling. This would give Tsunade an out, while still letting Yefeng save some face. Yefeng grinned. That might be fun. He remembered that episode in the anime where Tsunade and the Raikage arm wrestled. That was an epic showdown. Now that's interesting. Tsunade, who was already mad, perked up at the suggestion. Kid, you got the guts to bet. Let me tell you something, I've never lost. Oh yeah? So, this Tsunade hasn't faced off against the Raikage yet. In that arm wrestle, the Raikage won in the end. Tsunade was stronger, but the Raikage was faster, using a little trick to win. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet.